This has been a long time coming, and I need to share my story because I don't know how else to process what my mom has done to me. I never thought it would get this bad, but it has, and I'm finally done. Completely done. Ever since I was in high school, my mom has crossed so many boundaries, I don't even know where to begin. She's always been a bit different, let's say, but I never thought she'd go as far as to get involved with all of my exes and my male friends. Not just once or twice, but over and over again for years. It started back in freshman year when I was still a kid, just trying to navigate life and friendships. I thought I could trust her, but it quickly became clear that I couldn't trust her with anyone. At first, I tried to brush it off. Maybe it was a coincidence, I thought. But it kept happening, one ex after another. She would flirt with them, get close, and eventually I'd find out they were hooking up. And the worst part was when I'd confront her about it, she'd act like it was no big deal. Like she had every right to do whatever she wanted, even though it was my life, my relationships, and my friends. I couldn't make sense of it. Every time I thought it couldn't get worse, it did. It wasn't just about boyfriends. I had close male friends too, guys I considered family, and she went after them too. She knew how important they were to me, and she still didn't care. It was like I didn't even exist when it came to her needs. I don't know if she was trying to take something from me or if it was just about her own personal validation. But she took everything, my relationships, my trust, my sense of safety with the people I cared about. I tried to keep things civil, tried to keep the peace for the sake of family. But then everything hit rock bottom. I had a really toxic relationship with someone who I thought I could build a future with, someone who ended up being incredibly abusive. I found out I was pregnant and things were scary. I filed for a protective order against him because I feared for my safety and my babies. I was alone in this, and my mom, my own mother, was supposed to be there for me, to support me. Instead, what does she do? She sleeps with him. The man who I had a protective order against. The man who terrified me, the man I wanted nothing to do with. She slept with him, and even after knowing what had happened between us, after knowing the danger I was in, she told him where to find me and that I had given birth. She even told him that I was living alone with the baby. She was fully aware of the fact that I had a protective order against him. She didn't care. When I found out about this, something in me broke. That was the final straw. How could she do that to me? How could she put me and my baby in danger like that? I realised then that this wasn't just some weird phase or something I could talk her out of. This wasn't just a boundary she crossed. She had trampled on every ounce of trust I had ever had in her. I made the hardest decision of my life that day. I cut contact with her for good. It wasn't easy. I cried. I tried to rationalise it. I even thought about forgiving her, but I couldn't. Every single time she broke me down, every time she hurt me, she showed me that she would always choose her own selfish needs over my safety, my well-being, and my life. It's been a while since that day, and I still can't understand how someone who should have been my biggest supporter could betray me in such a cruel and unforgivable way. I feel a mix of anger, sadness, and betrayal, and I'm still processing it. But I'm learning to live without her in my life, without that toxic presence, and it's the best decision I've ever made for myself and my baby. I just needed to share this because honestly, I don't think people understand the extent of what I've gone through. My mom wasn't just a bad influence. She was a danger to me, and I couldn't let that continue any longer. I don't think she'll ever understand what she's done, but for me, my peace is the most important thing now. I hope this serves as a reminder to anyone out there who feels stuck in a toxic family dynamic. You deserve better. You can choose to walk away, and sometimes that's the hardest but healthiest choice you'll ever make. I just wanted to give an update on everything that's been happening since my last post. I honestly didn't expect the amount of support and advice I received. It was overwhelming in the best way. It's been a rough journey, but reading your comments made me feel like I wasn't entirely alone in this. Thank you. Seriously. So since I cut contact with my mom, things have been complicated, to say the least. I thought I'd feel an instant sense of relief, like everything would click into place. But it wasn't that simple. The first few weeks were hard. Really hard. I didn't expect to feel so much guilt. It's crazy how much emotional manipulation and gaslighting I had internalized over the years. Even though I knew in my heart that cutting her off was the right decision, I still questioned myself, second-guessed it. I had a lot of moments where I almost reached out to her. She never stopped trying to get in touch. It started with texts, just a simple "I miss you" or "we need to talk" that I could easily ignore, but it didn't stop there. She sent me emails, left voicemails, even tried to reach out through mutual friends. She kept telling people I was overreacting, that I should forgive her, that I was hurting the family. Of course, none of this was directed at the damage she caused, just a lot of guilt-tripping. It's wild how predictable it all was. What really hit me hard was when she tried to manipulate my friends. She actually reached out to them, trying to paint me as the bad guy, telling them I was being too sensitive and that I didn't appreciate her help. I'm so thankful for my friends. They've been amazing. They saw through it, and instead of falling for her sob story, they supported me even more. But there's been a definite shift in how some people look at me, like they think I've broken up with my mom or something. The most bizarre thing is that, despite everything, I've started to feel stronger. I've learned that breaking that cycle was exactly what I needed. I've spent more time focusing on myself, my baby, and building a life free of that toxicity. I've been going to therapy, which has really helped me work through the guilt and anger. I'm learning how to set boundaries that don't bend every time someone calls me or tries to pull me back in. My mom hasn't stopped trying to manipulate the situation. The latest thing she did was send me a package with a letter inside. In it, she apologised for the things she'd done, though not really. It was more of a "I'm sorry you felt hurt" type of apology. And she included some baby clothes for my child. I don't even know what she thought I would do with them, but it pissed me off. She's still acting like she's in control, like I owe her a chance to fix things on her terms. The letter ended with her saying she'd always be there when I'm ready. It's frustrating how much she's still not taking accountability for the destruction she's caused. I've still had moments where I think about what could have been. I wonder if she could have been the mom I needed, if she had just stopped making everything about herself. I feel this weird sadness about the whole situation. But I also know that me choosing to protect myself and my baby and to not let her toxic behaviour in is a form of self-love I've never practiced before. For now, I'm staying firm in my decision, but I'm also realising that healing is going to be an ongoing process. I've been learning a lot about my own boundaries and what it means to really prioritise my own well-being, and that's been empowering. I'm not saying this is the end of the story, because I don't know where it's going yet, but I'm doing better, I'm getting stronger, and I know this was the right choice for me, even if it's not easy. Thanks again for everyone who's been supportive. Your messages help me more than you know. I'll update again if anything changes, but for now, I'm taking things one day at a time. This is the final update. I've thought long and hard about writing this, but I think I'm finally at a place where I can share how things have ended, and I'm ready to close this chapter for good. I've spent a lot of time processing everything that's happened over the last few months. There were days when I wondered if I'd ever feel peace about all this, or if I'd ever be able to move on without constantly looking over my shoulder. But honestly, I'm okay. More than okay. For the longest time, I thought I had to keep my mom in my life because she was family. I thought that blood meant something, that she was somehow owed access to my life and my heart, even though she never respected either. But I've learned that family isn't just about shared genetics. It's about the people who truly show up for you, who respect your boundaries, and who make you feel safe and loved. My mom has never done that. After my last post, I decided that I needed to focus on myself and my baby, without the distractions and guilt trips from her. I started therapy, which has been a game changer. I've learned to untangle the years of manipulation, guilt, and confusion she had instilled in me. It wasn't easy, but slowly I started to see how unhealthy that relationship had become. It was toxic, it was draining, and I was suffocating. For the first time in years, I could breathe freely. Since my last update, my mom's attempts to re-enter my life didn't stop. She tried everything, the letters, the random gifts, even sending a care package for my baby, none of which I ever responded to. I didn't feel the need to engage with her anymore. I realised that every time I did, I was just letting her back in to hurt me again. The final blow came when, a few weeks ago, she showed up at my door. I wasn't expecting it, and honestly, I had no idea how to handle it. I hadn't heard from her in a while, and I thought maybe she'd finally given up. But no, she came to my house, stood on my porch, and started telling me how much she missed me and didn't understand what went wrong. She was crying, trying to guilt me, trying to make me feel like I was the one destroying the family. But this time something inside me clicked. I was calm, firm, and clear-headed. I didn't let her in. I told her that what she had done was unforgivable and that I would never let her back into my life. She didn't take it well, of course. She begged, she pleaded, she even threatened to tell people that I was breaking up the family and acting crazy. But I didn't flinch. I didn't get sucked into her drama. I just told her to leave. And she did. After that, something in me shifted for good. I finally realised I had nothing left to feel guilty about. I wasn't the one who betrayed anyone. She was the one who made all those choices. She was the one who hurt me, and she was the one who destroyed what little trust I had left in her. It's been peaceful since then. I'm not saying it hasn't been hard, because there are days when I miss the idea of having a mom, or when I think up the little things I'll never have with her, like a supportive relationship. But I know that, for the sake of my own sanity and for my baby's well-being, I made the right choice. I found a new strength within myself that I didn't even know I had. And that strength comes from knowing that I'm worthy of love and respect, and I no longer need to settle for anything less. I've built a new kind of family. I have friends who love and care for me, and I've surrounded myself with people who lift me up. My baby and I are doing well. Life isn't perfect, but it's ours, and that's enough. So this is it. This is the final update. I've cut ties, I've healed, and I'm moving forward. No more guilt, no more toxic relationships, just peace. Thank you to everyone who has supported me through this. Your messages kept me going when I didn't think I could. I'm finally free.